A few years ago, I had to deliver a really important presentation in front of, it was about 120 leaders from a big consulting firm. And it was a really important presentation because basically there was a big deal for me linked to that. If the presentation worked well, if they liked it, there was a lot of training behind that. And so I prepared, I put some facts, some numbers. I thought those leaders are very logical. I need to bring a lot of fact and so on. I have since spoken to many of them over the last few years, and none of them remember any of my fact. However, in the middle of the presentation, I had a tiny little story. They all remembered the story. Bonjour, this is Cyril from Work Smarter, Live Better. In this video, I want to share and discuss the power of storytelling. If you're a busy leader, or actually whoever you are, presenting, communicating is very important. Communicating to your team, communicating to your client, communicating to your family, to share ideas, and you want people to remember what you've said. I'm an engineer by trade, and as an engineer, I like fact, I like logic. And so for years, this is what I included in all my training, my speaking, lots of fact, lots of logic. And even to that day, I'm very guilty of trying to put too much of that. And then I met Gabrielle. Gabrielle Dolan is probably one of the most famous or amazing corporate trainer for storytelling. She trained corporate around the world about storytelling. And I met Gabrielle and I had the pleasure of attend one of the workshop and training she was given. And it completely opened a different area for me. She explained that storytelling and fact are used by two different kinds of our brain. When you tell storytelling, it is linked to an emotion, and our brain processes emotion really fast and remember it for quite a while. Whether facts are processed by a logical part of our brain, which takes more time to understand and we forget much quicker. And so she highly recommends that you move a lot from fact to storytelling. And so this is what I did. And she actually suggests that you start small. It doesn't have to be a big story, but be very authentic about your story. Because people feel when you're authentic or when you made up a story. Gabrielle just released a new book called Story Intelligence: The Craft of Authentic Storytelling Made Smarter with AI. I highly recommend you have someone who's got 20 years plus of expertise about training people on storytelling. Super useful. Since then, I have incorporated much more storytelling. But as I mentioned, as an engineer, sometimes it's really hard. I have to fight against myself to give too many facts. So my question to you is, would that be a little bit helpful sometime to change your style and bring a tiny bit more storytelling in when you're communicating with the important people for you? This is this week Work Smarter, Live Better tip. You have a lovely day. À bientôt.